Hi, I'm Rox, and I like to talk about knitting mostly. Last week I talked about using decreases that lean toward the area getting smaller. So what is lean again?
So when we talk about a decrease as having a lean, we're referring to which of the two stitches involved in the decrease is on top. When the left stitch is on top, we say it leans to the right. When the right stitch is on top, we say it leans to the left. These decreases are pointing to the area getting smaller, which is the waistline here. These decreases are also pointing to the left, to the area getting smaller. So many times with stockinette, you want the decreases to point in the direction of the area getting smaller. So on the right hand side, you do a left leaning decrease. These are SSK. On the left, you do a right leaning decrease. And you can do them in the opposite direction if you prefer that look, but this is a very common way of doing it in stockinette.
So we use these, we call them mirrored decreases, when we need to do decreases at opposite ends of the same row over a period of time so they're stacked. And we want it to look aesthetically pleasing and balanced. So we use the mirrored decreases. So what happens when you have a textured stitch pattern that has knits and purls in the same row and you need to do a decrease?
So when we're in a situation in which we need to work two stitches together that are of different stitch types, we need to decide which one of these we want on top. Well, first of all, we want to keep the continuity of this pattern going. In this, we've got 2 rows of knits on top. We've got 2 rows of knits, 2 rows of purls. So the next, anytime we see a purl stitch in this row, we're going to knit it, and anytime we see a knit stitch, we're going to purl it. If these 2 stitches are worked together, we want to work them the opposite of the way the 4th stitch is worked. The first stitch is always going to be knit because that's our selvage stitch, and it will be inside a seam most likely. So that one's knit no matter what. This one's going to be knit, and so these 2 need to be purled together. Then we need to decide, do we want to purl them together so that the knit stitch is on top, or do we want to purl them so that this purl stitch is on top? And the answer to that question is we want to purl them together so that this one is on top, so that we maintain the continuity of the stitch pattern on either and in the center of the row, and so the decreases are worked together to maintain that continuity. So in this case, we're going to purl these, and we want the left stitch on top. The way to get the left stitch on top is to just purl 2 together. So this first stitch is the selvage stitch, so it's always knit. Now we're going to purl these 2 together. It's awkward doing it continental here. Okay, so I've got these 2 purled together. And if you can see, this knit stitch is on top, and the stitch that was purled before, you can see the legs of it behind. So this maintains that, and now we're maintaining this column of stitches that where we had knits, and now it's going to be purls. And then I work the rest of the row. Okay, so I've gotten to the end of the row where I've got 4 stitches left, so this one needs to be purled. And the next stitch needs to be knit. We're going to make a decrease that is a knit, and we want the 3rd stitch to end up being on top, and that means I need to do a left leaning knit decrease, which is an SSK. So I work it close to the tips to try to keep from distorting it too much. And then I knit the last one because it's the selvage. I can knit it. Okay, so I've worked a couple of repeats, and now, so I did the decrease, worked back, then I worked 2 more rows. So now I'm in a situation where I need to do another decrease, only this time, if I work these 2 stitches together, that's going to have to be a knit. So, I want this stitch to be on top, and the way to do that is a knit two together. So I knit the selvage, because I always knit the selvage, and then I knit two together, and then I work across. So I've worked across the row. I've got 4 stitches left. This next one presents as a purl, so this one needs to be knit, which means I need to purl these 2 together. But I want to purl them together so that this stitch is on top, and the way to do that is with an SSP. Slip as if to knit, slip as if to knit, replace them on the left needle, and then purl them together through the back loops. So I insert, wrap, purl, and then I knit the last one. So what you see is there's this continuity of stitches as you go up, so that you've got the purls here and the ones below it are knit. The ones that had been purled are behind there, and on the other side you have these purl stitches have become knits, and so the knit is on top, and it maintains that stitch continuity all the way across.
Okay, so if this is the right side of the fabric or the public side of the fabric, we talked about what to do decreases on this side, the knit two together or the purl two together, that are going to lean to the right. And over here, we talked about doing decreases that lean to the left, like the SSP or the SSK. Well, what happens if you need to do them on the reverse side? This may seem counterintuitive, but you do not want to do decreases that lean toward this edge, because if it leans to the right on this side, it will lean to the right on the other side. So you don't want to do a knit two together to go this way, because it will look like it will be pointing this way on the other side. Here's the easy thing to remember. If you're doing knit two together and purl two together over here, then on that side, on the wrong side of the fabric, you're going to do a knit two together or a purl two together over here. So this edge is always for knit two together or purl two together, and this edge will always be for SSK or SSP. So that's it for this week. I may or may not be back next week. The kids are having spring break, so we'll see. We may be off for a couple weeks. And thanks for being patient waiting for this video.